thank you everyone for being here today with us regarding the new look of Infinite Campus. We have with us today Russell Jones. He's our regional program manager for Region 9. We also have Lacey Phillips. She is our regional program manager for Region 12. And I'm Heather McCarty, and I'm the regional program manager for Region 2. We also have John Gribbins on here. He is a coordinator in Jefferson County, and he works alongside with us, or we work alongside with him on Infinite Campus. He is our go-to many times because he is very well-versed in Infinite Campus, and he also helps us a lot. So we appreciate everyone being here today. Once Russell gets started with what he's going to show you all with the new look, I am going to put a Frisk field definition document in the chat for you all. And like Quentin said, he's going to put a link to the Frisk Training Hub in the chat as well, where you can access videos, past Wednesday webinars, lots of Infinite Campus resources at the tip of your fingers for you to access. And then I also wanted to remind everyone that anything that you see on the screen today with Infinite Campus, that if you see student names, addresses, phone numbers, all of this is fake data. It's not anything that's being shown, with a real student or anything like that. All the data you see will be fake. And then also, if you have questions throughout the webinar, please place those questions in the chat. Lacey is going to be consolidating those questions for us. If we have time to answer some of those today, we will, but we may have to look at the questions at a later date and answer those for you after the webinar. But please put those questions in the chat for us to look at later. So I will turn it over to Russell. He's going to start showing you all the new look and how to navigate that.
All right. So thank you, Heather. So as Heather said, Lacey's going to capture all of the questions that you all have. In particular, we will try to answer questions about what we're going over today, about the new look, about, some different reporting things that Heather and I have been looking at, and then Lacey and John as well, some things we've been looking at. And we'll go from there. So any other in-depth type questions, we will take those up. We will look at them, and then we may get Quentin or Melissa to post it on the training hub as well, along with this video. That way the questions will be there when you can go back and look. So, okay. So we do want to go with Infinite Campus, and I'm going to share my screen with you. And this is what Infinite Campus looks like for the vast majority of you. Now, I would love for you all to use the reactions and tell me how comfortable you are with Infinite Campus. So if with the new look of Infinite Campus, if anybody has started using it yet, if you have used the new view of Infinite Campus, please give me a thumbs up on the reaction. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, we've got a few. Looks like about a third have used the new look, which is good. That's good. It means you got a base to kind of go off of what we have today. Hopefully, by the time we're done, you're going to be able to be a little more comfortable in using some of the tools and using some of the things to see kind of where we are with this new look. So, again, this is what we have always used in the past. This is what I use as a coordinator. It's what Heather used as a coordinator. This is the classic look is what we're going to call it. We're not going to call it the old look. We're going to call it the classic look of Infinite Campus. To get to the current new look, if you don't already have it pulled up, you will go to the top right corner of your screen and you will see the little person emblem. You will click on the person and it will bring up a little list, and it says try new look. And right now you'll see that it is off. You will click the button and you will turn it on. When the new look comes up, this is what you will see. This is the start page that you're going to see with all Infinite Campus. Okay, this is going to be your start page. is going to be the message center. Now, if we flip back over to the classic view for just a moment, you will see that the message center exists, but it's here like with this process alerts. So like there's messages can be sent here, like district announcements, school announcements. This is that message center. It's there and it currently is there. And some you'll know if your district uses it or not, because you'll know that when you log on to Infinite Campus, there's going to be messages here. There are going to be things that pop up here. So if that is something your district uses, now when you log on, that's going to be the first thing you see. So when you go from here, what you want to do is we want to let you know a few little things at the top. The main one being this little symbol in the top left. That symbol in the top left, this is what we affectionately have been calling the hamburger because it looks like a hamburger. That's what happens when you make us do things before lunch. We look at everything in food. So we have lunch here. We have a hamburger here. And over to the far right beside the person, this is the waffle that we may end up using a little later on as well. So as we get into Infinite Campus, we're going to look at the waffle. So first, you'll click on the waffle and you'll click on the file. The file is the main menu. This is everything that you have access to in Infinite Campus. Now, it's going to change from district to district. It's going to change center to center. Like this could look completely different depending on where you're on what you have rights to. But when you go in, what you'll do is you'll find kind of where we are. Like you can look, this is, if you open the student information tab, it gives you a list of all of these things that you can look for under student information. This is it's a pretty substantial list. There's a lot of stuff. So you can look at it this way. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at one that's kind of a staple that most people have, which is the summary page. This is a good question. All right. So with Infinite Campus, when you start switching between the different pieces, the first thing you have to do is find a student. So we're going to go in and we're going to look for a student. So we're going to go to the search, just like we've always done. We'll go for a student. We'll just type in an initial and we'll open Madison. So here is the summary page. I am fairly confident that the vast majority of people on this call have seen this page. This is the summary page that just gives all of the information. It gives all the information about the kid. It gives all the information about, anything that you could want about the student. Here it is. This is the information that you have for them. This is also the place where you find the households. It's where you find telephone numbers. It's where you find addresses. All of those things are located here. So as you're looking at the summary page, what I want you to notice is that things within Infinite Campus have not changed. The only thing that has changed is the way you get to them. It's the way you get there. So think about all of these little pieces under student information, all of these little links that you can click on. These are equivalent to the tabs you used to have at the top of the screen. These are all the equivalent tabs that you would have had. So whatever your tabs would have been are the things that are going to show up here. So you can look at it in that list, or if you look all the way to the right under the waffle, you'll see a pathway. Like this is how you get to the summary. You went to student information, general, summary. So with that, you can go backwards. So you can go and see what's in general, and it shows it as a flyout on the screen. Then if you want to look back again and you want to see student information, it shows you all of it. So it shows you everything that is contained within student information that you have access to. Okay. And this is pretty much everything contained within Infinite Campus that we would probably use. So if you scroll on this big list, because here's general, here's all these different pieces. If you scroll all the way down, to state programs, you will find where it says FRYC. So you will find the Frisk tab, which again is something that should be very, very familiar to all of us. It looks exactly the same. Putting in an intervention looks exactly the same. It is just in how you get to that step. It's how you get to that place is what has changed. One thing to note on the page, what you'll see is when you open it up, you will see Frisk and you will see a star beside all of these things. You'll see a star beside all of these tools. What you want to do is when you see that star, if it is something that you use, you want to click the star. And you'll see how the star is it's white now. It's like a star that's not been filled in. When you click the little button and you click the star, it turns blue. Okay, it turns blue. And we'll show you what that means in a minute. What that means is you have added this to your favorites menu when that star turns blue. We're going to look at that particular thing in just a few moments. So the big key to the new view of Infinite Campus is going to be finding which tools you want to use. Now, you can go through this list. If you're somebody that likes to look at the screen and go through all the options that you have, you can look at this list, and on each one, you can go in and see that there's a star and see if you want to favorite that. Okay, you can go in and look at each one of these and see if you want to, put a star beside it and add it to your favorites. Okay, or the easier way to do it is to go back to the search bar where we searched for a student just a minute ago, like we've always done. But under top, instead of doing a student, you want to select a tool. I have yet to find a district. I'm not saying that there's not, but I have yet to find a district that doesn't have the option to search for a tool. What you'll want to do is when you go to tool, you go into the box and you will type, let's say we're going to type Frisk because we're looking for the Frisk tab. You hit enter, and what it does is it will bring up every tool that is associated with Frisk. So you have the Frisk tab, you have the Frisk state report, the group program report, the setup for it, the group program report itself, the individual intervention rosters, the group program participation wizard, all the things that have Frisk in the title, you can find, and then you can just go through the list and star each one of them. Then you can go back to the tool, and let's say you work with, you have a program where you monitor behavior for students. You can go to behavior. You can click behavior. You can add it to your favorites menu. Whatever things that you use the most, you can add to your favorite menu. So once you've got everything set up where you want it to be, once you have went through and you've looked at all the pieces that you have, you can go to your favorites menu, which on the main menu, go to the again, go back to the hamburger. Instead of going to the file folder, you will go to the star. When you go to the star, you will have all of your favorites set in place. And you can go to just the things, and you will only see the things that you want to use. Okay. And when you're in, let's say you are looking in the Frisk tab. If you have the Frisk tab pulled up with a student, you never have to leave the Frisk tab if you don't want to. Like that will be the only thing that is up as long as you have Infinite Campus up. You can search for as many students as you want, and you never have to click windows again. Like it will just stay in the Frisk tab, which makes it much, much simpler, okay, to use. So we hope in the long run, we see the main problem of this being one, us getting acclimated to using the new system, which is actually going to be very important. And I'm going to encourage all of you between now and the end of the year, the end of the fiscal year, so by June 30th, I'm going to encourage all of you to go try the new view, to go look at it and play with it. Because come July 1, the classic view will no longer be an option. You will have to use the new view. So I would go back and look at it and see kind of what you've got and what you're looking at so that you know where everything is so that you're able to find everything. So that again, the two hard pieces. One is going to be getting acclimated to the new view because it looks a little different on the initial setup. And two, it's going to be finding all of those pieces of information that you use and favoriting them. Then you can just bounce between the things you want. Once those two things happen, we truly believe the new view is actually going to be easier to use. Several coordinators who have been using the new view and have been doing it pretty much the whole year have said that yes, it is easier to use the new view. They do believe that it is easier once you are used to using the system and once you have those favorites set up with everything that you have. Now, one other piece that we want to kind of talk about as well is this little section over on the side. So let's say I'm working with a kid and I'm working on attendance. Well, if you look over on the far right, it gives you some associated tools that you might be interested in. So from here, you can go to different pieces. This may be another way to find things that you will want to that you could use. Some things that you can also use when you're looking at behavior. So here is some additional help resources that Infinite Campus is building in for you. So that was a very quick overview of some of the pieces, the new pieces with Infinite Campus. So I do see that we have a lot of comments in the chat. So do we have anything that we need to look at right now? Any questions on this?
Russell, we did have one question about should we have access to all the Frisk tools that you just showed? And John answered yes in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you do not have those things, please talk to your district Infinite Campus people because that is something that you should definitely be able to access and that you should be able to look at. So yeah, absolutely. Right. Very good. So, Ms. Heather, I think we're going to turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you, Russell. So I wanted to briefly go over the individual intervention roster report with you all. This is something that you can favorite. You can see that Russell has it under his favorites. Again, to find this report, you will type tools. You will choose tools and you can type in Frisk and this option should come up for you. And again, if you do not see this tool available to you, reach out to your IC personnel to request access. A lot of districts do not know that this report is available. This report was fairly new once COVID hit. So of course, everyone pretty much forgot about Infinite Campus and reports, and we were all doing different things and trying to adjust to our COVID lives. So now that we're getting back to normal, we want coordinators to know that this report is out there, that you can access it and how you can use it. And so again, it's the Frisk Individual Intervention Roster Report. And why is this report beneficial to you as a coordinator? Let's
Heather,
say, yes.
let me interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I would love to know if you would give us a thumbs up if you have used the individual intervention roster report. Give us a thumbs up if you've used it.
And Russell, I cannot see the reaction, so if you can let me know.
3 of our 30 people have used this report.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad we're going to go over it then. Great. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to, and this is a very long report when you run it. But let's say that you want to know how many students you have provided dental services for. You can run this report and it is going to show you the specific student names of those children that you've provided dental services for. So Russell is going to run his report right now and give and show you an example of this report. Now, this is not a report that we want you to share with your advisory council or your site base or anything like that. This report is for you as a coordinator only, because it does include names of students and the services that they've received. But you can see the report on the screen that Russell shared. We can see that academic motivation was a service provided to Blade Abner. And if you scroll down, it's going to give you the specific student names for each services that have been provided to students. When you do your individual intervention and when you check those categories of services you've provided, now you can run that report and see those names specifically. So you may need this if a teacher asks you a question, have you helped this student with vision? Have you reached out to this student for attendance? You're going to be able to go back and say, or if your principal maybe ask you, what attendance contacts have you made? You can show them this report and let them know, these are the 10 students that I have reached out that have had 6 to 10 days of absences. So again, this report's for you. You can run it whenever you like and use that as a quicker reference than maybe searching, because we all know we get busy and we're going to forget what all students that we've talked to about attendance. So you can run this report and use it for that, for your benefit in that way. So again, you'll click tool, you're going to click Frisk. It should come up for you. All you have to do is click it and you're going to run it just like you run your state reports or your group program reports. It's the same concept. Does anyone have any questions about the individual intervention roster report? Okay, we have a comment in the chat. I like to keep these to show staff at the start of the year all the services we provided the year before.
Okay, so I do want to, Heather, let me say something to that.
Okay.
I would not use that report with staff. I would not use that report with staff because staff are going to see names of kids that they don't necessarily need to see. Because even within educational services, not all teachers need to see something about all kids. I would for certain use the state report, which we're going to look at in a few minutes. I would use that for certain, but I would not use this report as it's a great report for you. I wouldn't even use that report with my advisory council. I would use that report specifically for you, because not everybody needs to know what everybody else is doing. It's great if it's like a particular kid for a particular teacher or attendance clerk or principal or whoever, but I wouldn't give like a big thing for all teachers with that report. That would be that you could be approaching breaking confidentiality and or breaking federal law, actually. So let's just to throw that out there.
And Caitlin, you may have meant the state report instead of the individual roster report. You could have been talking about the state report that you use. Oh, okay. Yes. She was thinking of her state report. So great job. And we are going, if there's not any more questions about the individual intervention roster report, Russell's actually going to run a state report. We get a lot of questions from coordinators on how to read the state report. So we wanted to briefly go over that as well, so you all know how to read that report with the duplicated, unduplicated numbers, etc. So we're going to get into that next unless there are any other questions. All right.
Okay, so again, we're going to look at the state report. Hopefully, we know how to run this, but if you don't, you'll go to the Frisk State Report tool. Again, you will search Frisk and search tool and go in and favorite that piece. you will select your center and any school that you're associated with. So for this one, we're going to select the school and the center and match them up. Then we're going to generate the extract. And again, it's going to give you the PDF. Okay, so here, this is where we're going to run into how to read this report, like step by step, like how we're going to look at the report. The first thing you're looking at is you're looking at this top front page that I think everybody's fairly familiar with. If you notice, there are pieces from each of the categories that you will find here. Mode of intervention is always around individual interventions. So this will tell you how many times that you've contacted a student or family by phone, how many times they've been in your office, how many times, how many home visits you've done, anytime you've sent an email, a text to a family, all that information is logged into this particular, or will show up in this particular document. The middle section where it talks about time frame is all about group programs. So if you do an individual intervention during the summer, it doesn't show up as it happening during summer break. It would just show up as an individual intervention, not in this particular time frame. Right? This doesn't work that way. These are just things that you select individually when you do that group program, when you talk about time. Then the two things that you see at the bottom, the two pieces that are at the bottom, the top is individual intervention. It says here, the total aggregate totals for individual intervention. And this is the aggregate total for the group program. So you have both pieces at the bottom, and you can get straight numbers at the bottom. On the far right, we're going to start at the far right and work our way up and around. So if you go to the far right, you can see your number of group program hours that have been entered, along with your number of volunteers and your volunteer hours. If you do a really good job keeping up with that, this is something that you can use with your end of year reporting when we're talking about in-kind contributions as far as a donation of time. So this is a volunteer time that is given to us around our group programming. Then as you move backwards, you'll see number of meetings, you'll see number of contacts, you'll see all these things. And what we want to focus on is the difference between unduplicated and duplicated. So unduplicated is how many students you have served. Unduplicated student contact is how many kids you have made contact with that you have put in Infinite Campus. Unduplicated parent contacts is how many parents you have made contact with. Duplicated means that you talk to some of those people more than once. That's what duplicated is. So that's important to kind of know, is that unduplicated is just the number of kids you've talked to. Duplicated is you've talked to those people more than once. That you've had multiple times that you have communicated with them. Now, as we go down, as you continue to read through the report, you'll look at the report and you'll notice that there are things that have dash marks in them. It is perfectly okay as a Frisk coordinator to have a dash in a category. We do not expect you to have information in every single individual intervention category. It is okay for those things not to show. It is okay for those things to be dashes. That is not a problem. The only time we have a problem is if everything has dashes. Then we have an issue. But if we don't have everything having dashes, if there are things that are there, it's okay if some of them are there. And it's there because of the nature of the school that you are at. There could be times where at an elementary school, at an FRC, you may never talk about post-high school education. At a high school, at a YSC, you may never talk about kindergarten readiness. So you will always have dashes in those things. You may go your whole career and never have to do anything with Born Learning Academy, it's okay. Those things are fine. We don't have to have numbers in every single thing. But if you go through and look, you will see on the left, you will see unduplicated again. So this is how many people you have seen for that category. So here you can see that unduplicated, we have given 3 students school supplies. Now, we do want to say this report is from the state test site. So it is not an actual center's information. This is only information that Heather and I have entered into Infinite Campus. So there really isn't a lot of data because we only use this for training. So there really isn't a lot of pieces that we have in there. So just know that some things may look kind of weird. But as we continue to look down through, you can see all of the different contacts. I'm trying to find one that's duplicated.
I know, Russell, can you clarify? Because I like the terminology you use. Unduplicated is number of services.
Unduplicated is number of students.
Different
Yes.
students.
That you have done a program with.
Yes.
Okay,
That's what
unduplicated
unduplicated
is number
of kids,
okay.
number of students. Duplicated is you saw those students more than once.
It's the number of different students.
Yeah. Unduplicated. Yeah.
Okay, so unduplicated is the number of student services. Duplicated is number of. No, I'm getting it
No,
backwards.
that's okay. Unduplicated, think of unduplicated as the number of different kids you saw. So in the course of a week, you saw Johnny twice, you saw Sally once. So that's 2 unduplicated because you saw Johnny twice, 2 different kids, Sarah and Johnny. Duplicated is 3 because you provide 3 services to 2 kids, but it was 3 services, 3 interventions.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. You all see, this is why I give Russell this part because. Okay.
Yeah, because duplicated. Now, one thing that Heather, and this is really weird. One thing that Heather and I did find is the number of duplicated students. If you add that number up, it does not actually equal the number of services that you provide. It's actually just the kid again. So on Infinite Campus, you have the ability under an individual intervention. You have the ability to put one intervention, but you can put 15 different things if you so choose. When it counts unduplicated in this, it only counts it as 1. But then it counts each individual intervention in these pieces. Okay. That's the difference when you look at with those. So please keep doing it. If you do it more than one in a thing, please continue to do that. It is perfectly fine. We want you to do that. You don't have to enter every time you do something. You can do multiple things at once. But just know that's kind of how you read the report. Now, the group program report gives you more information, but if you scroll all the way down on the state report, you get the basic information of your group program report here. You get a lot of the basic information. Including the duplicated, unduplicated, all of that information kind of populates here. You will get more information on the group program report, but that is here. One thing that I would suggest to everyone is at the end of the year, you run your state report, you get down to this group program piece, and if you go to the next page, like we don't have any on here, but if you scroll down, there'll be another page. And if there is anything that shows up in red, that means you have started a group program and you didn't run it. You've entered a group program somewhere and you didn't run it. So it's a way to go back and check and make sure that you have entered all of your stuff throughout the year. Okay, it's just a good way to go back and look just to check yourself, just to make sure that you are getting the information in that you need to get in. All right.
Russell,
go ahead.
Can you explain why it's important on the group programs to enter those volunteer hours, please?
Okay. So the volunteer hours, it's an easy way for us to keep up with, or for you all to keep up with, that in-kind donation at the end of the year. Like, it's just so easy to go to the end of the year and say, okay, we had, you know, or every month. It's actually easier to do it every month. You just run that group program for the month and you go in and say, okay, this month we had 100 volunteer hours. So then we can go and calculate that in-kind donation of time that we want to keep up with at the end of the year.
Thank you. And then we had a question in the chat from a Frisk coordinator who serves, who has all the components. The state report has to be pulled for the elementary, middle, and high all separately, correct?
Okay, so that's actually a good question. So it depends. It really kind of depends on how your district has it set up. But in theory, you should be able to click on. You can do it either way. You should be able to click on your center and the school and run it. And so you could click on the school, your center, the middle school, run it, and you would just get middle school numbers. You should be able to click on your center, the elementary school, and just get elementary numbers. But you should be able to hold the control button down and select multiple schools and get one aggregate total for the year. You should be able to do that. That should be a possibility.
And then also, Russell, we had a couple coordinators asking, can you get out of this and show them how to get to their state report again and run it? Just go them through the steps, what boxes you check.
Yeah, we can.
I did put in the chat the IC instructions on the step-by-step for them.
Okay.
But that is the old view instructions. But once they get there, it's the same process. But if you can show them in the new.
Okay, so let's say you're working in the first tab and you want to get to your state report. You will go to the hamburger. You will then go to the star. And hopefully by this point you've started it. You will then go from the star, you will go to where it says Frisk State Report. And it'll open the state report. Now, once you get to there, you will find your school or your center name over on the on the left in the box. You will go to your center name. You will go in the middle and you will find your school. Most of the time, your school will already be selected for you. You will just have to select your center most of the time. Sometimes it gets wonky. Your districts do something weird to it. But go in and look. What we're going to do is, so then you go from there and you click generate extract, which is in the middle of the screen. And that's what brings up the PDF that we were looking at just a moment ago. One thing while we're here to kind of point out with the state report is you can change this date range and you can go from month to month. You can go 2 months at a time. You can set it up however you want to do it. So if your district asks you for a monthly report of some sort, you could go month by month with everything that you put into Infinite Campus. Okay, you could go month by month with all of the information, with all of the stuff that you have, and you can carry it over into and you can just then look at that and be able to fix your report by the things you've done throughout the month. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yes. And then we also have another really good question in the chat. And I don't mind to address this because we actually went over this at our regional meeting yesterday with Tanya Kuckendorfer. Donna says our county Frisk set up at the first annual Hula into health at the health department, along with 35 other agencies. We gave out information about Frisk and other items to families, no sign-in sheets. How would you enter that? There's actually a new option in the unenrolled section in Frisk Counts where you can enter that information, Donna. And even if you didn't have any sign-in sheets, if you have a rough estimate, maybe you had 50 families, you can go in the unenrolled section on Frisk Counts, enter your program, and you can put 50 families in attendance. You don't have to have their names or anything like that. So that is a new feature in Frisk Counts unenrolled section. And that's where we're going to be asking coordinators to enter that documentation that you've put in the chat. So great question.
Yeah. So people have asked before why we can't do that in Infinite Campus. And the reason we can't do that in Infinite Campus is because it's not tied to a student. Like if you don't have a student name, there is no way to tie anything, any kind of information to anything in Infinite Campus. Thus, that's also the reason the 0 to 3 population, for those kids that are not in preschool, or 0 to 5, for kids that are not in preschool, that's why we can't use Infinite Campus for them as well, because they are not connected to a school in any form or fashion. And Infinite Campus can't connect them. Like we just can't put that information in. So that's why the unenrolled section exists.
And Lacey put a good comment in the chat about if you have full district access to centers, you're going to see those other centers in IC. So just make sure you click on your center name. And every district's different. You may only have access to your center. You may have access to 2 or 3 centers, but just make sure you click on your center.
Yep. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
I think we've addressed them all in the chat so far.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take just a couple of minutes. And Quentin, if you could split everybody into a breakout room of about 6. I would love to give you all time to talk to each other about your frustrations with Infinite Campus, 2, your what you think about the new look, how you think is it going to be easy, if you've used it, what's your experience with it. I would love for you all to be able to share with each other what you're looking at when in terms of Infinite Campus. And then when we come back from the breakout rooms, I would love for you all to share some of the things that you talked about, just something interesting that you talked about in that breakout room.
Russell, do you want each of us, like me, you, Lacey, John, to be in a room, or does it matter?
No, I would say we will stay in the room. We'll stay out here. If you all need us, you can yell at us and we'll go in, but we'll all stay out here and then let them kind of just talk about Infinite Campus with themselves. Then we'll come back and we'll wrap up and give you the codes and all those kind of things.
Perfect.
Carrie, do you see where you can go to your room, or you can go to your breakout room?
No, I have no idea how to do that.
Are you on a computer or your phone?
My phone, my computer doesn't have a new, so I just started last month. So I just got on it with my phone. So I don't know how to do anything.
Okay.
I was just chilling here smiling.
Yeah, I've never used Zoom on my phone to go to a breakout room, so I don't know. It's on there somewhere. I just don't know how to help you.
I did broadcast your questions for them, Russell,
right.
so they can read them. What do they think about the new view? Do they think it's easier, harder? And then do they have any frustrations with IC they'd like to share?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do since we're in here, Carrie. We'll let you just talk about that with us.
I'm new. I've only used the new view, so I don't have my first day was March 17th. but that's all I've ever used is the new one. So,
Good, good.
oh, I say it comes in and out, but I have really bad service at the school. So I think that's why.
Well, you are definitely a newbie for sure. March 7th. So you've been here about a month.
Yes. And we,
Oh, she left.
She moved.
Oh, she's back.
What time do we want to end the?
I said
It-
for 5,
he's
so
got a-
you can eat it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that
That's
is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. So I'm thinking with our numbers decreasing like this, either A, Russell, like you said, the ballroom's going to be full at VOV, or two, maybe we're providing enough training that coordinators are getting more comfortable and we're seeing a decrease in the need.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
it's either one or the other.
Really, Infinite Campus, once you get over the shock of the way it looks and setting all that stuff up, once you actually start using it, to me, it's easier. Even doing the training is easier because everything is right there. Once you have that favorite menu, everything is that you want is right there. Then you just got to click on the pieces. But now setting it up was a little bit of it was a little challenge when we first started setting everything up, but
Yes.
nothing too bad.
Yeah.
Are you gonna remind them that they need the mandatory access, like the persistence graduation and the one blank on the other one?
Early warning.
Early warning, yep.
Well, it's not. They can have access, but it's not mandatory access. So yeah, I mean, we can. I mean, those are two things because we still have districts that don't use early warning at all.
I
We
was
have
just on that monitoring tool, so I was just,
yeah, no, that's one of those things that it's like if you have it, we can use it, but if it's not, I mean, if you don't have it, it's not that big a deal because we can't because there are districts that don't use it, so it makes so they won't give coordinators access. So we can't. Yeah, so we can't make.
Just shredded to pieces.
I haven't been monitoring the attendance, the participant list. We've got 2 people in the waiting room, Quentin. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Just
don't
not
be
letting
honest
people
with you.
back in.
Yeah, I normally keep track pretty good. I was having eyes, but I didn't.
I just saw
I'll
Sharon
look
Matt
too.
Miller pop in. Was she here earlier? And I worry people get disconnected.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
message and ask. Yeah, because I be honest
Yeah.
with you, both of them I know familiar names, but I don't know if they were.
Melissa, do
So-
we have? Oh, time is up. Okay. Do we have our next IC meeting scheduled or like for our
No.
group? Okay, I wasn't sure.
Not yet.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I've got the link to the Infinite Campus on the Training Branch site ready to share in the chat. So
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've had a couple things come up with coordinators, nothing major, some of the same stuff we've discussed, but I thought I was actually going to email you and say, could we have an IC meeting, sometime soon in the next couple months or maybe over the summer, with John and Russell and Lacey and us.
All right. Welcome back from the room, from your breakout room. So we do want to take just a moment and ask, does anybody have anything they want to share about frustrations or about the new view? Is it anything you want to share? You can say whatever you want to. This is just being recorded for anybody to see, but it's okay.
Okay,
Say anything you want to, though.
I'm gonna go first, Russell. I'm all the time
Okay.
jump in there and get it done. But our group said that we've been using Infinite Campus for a real long time. Most of us, some of us just had it for 2 years so far, but it's been a struggle to switch over to the new one. And we think with this training that we had today, that it's going to help a whole lot to do that transition. We feel a little bit more confident about it.
Ah, fantastic. We do want to go ahead and I guess it's safe to announce this, and if not, Melissa or Quentin can smack me after we're done. But we do want to say that we are going to have a session about the new view, a session about all of this at Victory Over Violence. So just kind of be on the lookout for that. We have applied for a session. We've not been told if we got it yet or not. I'm just going out on a limb and saying that we're going to do this at VOV.
So yeah, we've submitted the presentation proposal. We'll see if the committee likes us or not.
Yeah, we'll see if the people that like us, because nobody wants to know anything about Infinite Campus, right? Like nobody that knows anything about it. But we're going to do it, and we'll be doing it live and in person. So that may help a few people as well, because I know some people don't like this format. But just wanted to plug that and throw that out there. That it would be a panel, and the panel would be myself, Heather, Lacey, and John. So all four of us would be there running through the panel as well. So does anybody else have anything they want to talk about that they said in their group?
I would like to say that number one, I think it's just going to take time to get used to it, like everything else. And it's not hard. It's just going to take time. The other thing is we had a lady in our group who doesn't have access to a lot of things. And I wonder, is there anything that comes from the cabinet that tells districts, what we should have access to at the very least?
Okay.
Is there something like that available that she could?
There is. The thing is, it's very weird when we say this. There's actually there's 2 pages in the administrator's guidebook that says these are the things that you have to have access to. But it is actually a very, very small list of things that you have to have access to. And some districts strictly go by what is 100% required. And some do not. Some of those things that I know we find as coordinators that are very valuable and useful things are not things that we can require. Just because of the way KDE and the things that KDE requires, things that the cabinet has, there are some things that we just can't require. And Heather's right. Like if you see something or know something, reach out to your RPM, and or first I would probably reach out to your district contact and or your Infinite Campus people, because it very simply may be just a, hey, can we have this? And you go and you ask, and they'll give it to you. And it won't be a big thing. Now, I will say this about the switch over to the new view. Some things, when they redid the pathways for Infinite Campus, some of the wires got crossed a little bit, and people have lost access to things that they always had before.
Yeah.
If you run into that situation, contact your district, and it simply is them going in and checking a box, and they can give you access. Mm-hmm. It's not a huge hard process, to be honest with you.
And that's what I was putting in the chat, Russell. So thank you for clarifying that about reaching out to the district contact or IC personnel, because maybe there's just something not in the new view and they just have to go in and click a button and you would have it. So thank you for clarifying that.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so we've got, I think, 3 minutes left. I'm glad you all were able to talk. I'm glad you were able to talk to other coordinators. That always, for these, is great for me. People, different points of view from across the state, that always is very beneficial. But I do want to turn it back over to Quentin and Melissa, and to go over any last minute things. There are some links that have been put in the chat that are going to be very helpful for you all. And we look forward to seeing you all at VOV.